Welcome to Chasing the Muse. This is Broomwater.
I'm Matt, Stylish Title.
And this is episode 2. We're excited to be here. We're talking and sitting with our good friend and colleague, Emily Morgan, a.k.a. Lovely But Dead. Hi, Emily.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great.
So good to see you.
Yes.
We met, was it last summer at the art festival?
Yeah, was that Worthington?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw your art and it stopped me in my tracks. So we're going to talk about all that.
All right.
So Emily Morgan, a.k.a. Lovely But Dead, is a local Columbus, Ohio artist. She manages 3 different businesses, which we'll talk about. She manages the Lovely But Dead brand that features her art. She manages the Columbus Collage Collective and the Midwest Merchant Project. If that isn't enough, she also has a job in the corporate sector, helping a major company delve deeper into data and analytics. She's also currently working with That's the Breaks, Matt's band, helping us make the brand and things like this podcast really stand out. So if you like the art on the cover of our podcast art, it's called Dusk. It's a piece of art from Emily. So
You can see more at lovelybutdead.com?
yes, lovelybutdead.com. She's actually reworking the site right now, right?
I am. It's mostly,
It looks good.
It's mostly functional.
It was up and then down, right?
Yeah,
I saw,
yeah.
because I went there to get your, kind of do the bio today, and you had like one of your pieces of art, like it was waving.
Yeah.
Is that? Are
Yeah.
you in Wix with that?
I use Squarespace.
Squarespace. Okay. Wow, that looks really good.
Thank you.
So, I'd love to hear like how you got into collage art specifically, and what you love about it.
Well, it's actually it's not a very interesting story. So I guess I've always had some sort of creative side gig. I guess I'll call it.
Sure.
I started with photography in high school, and I would make jewelry and I would make resin art, and I feel like I kind of went through the stages. And then just one day I was just scrolling Instagram and I saw somebody make a collage art, and I nearly fell out of my a collage piece.
Really?
And I nearly fell out of my chair. I was like, I'm gonna do that.
That's awesome.
And then so I just made one, and then suddenly I had made 100.
That's amazing.
I was
It's
like,
funny because we were talking about inspiration on our
Yeah.
last show, and Matt was talking about how he got inspired to play the 7-string guitar, and he kind of had a similar story where he heard Charlie
Hunter.
Hunter playing it, and it was just sort of like,
Well, that's what I need to do. It wasn't necessarily his sound. It was the instrument
medium.
he played.
Yeah.
It was how he was doing it. Is what
Yeah.
it was more so, because I don't think I sound anything like him. But yes.
was it just something that you're like, wow, that's really unique?
So
Like, I
so
wanna
it
do
is
that?
very unique. It was very unique. It was he's playing a bass and a guitar at the same time, and he doesn't loop or anything like that. He literally will play the bass lines and the melody lines, and it's very cool. And he usually just plays with a drummer, so it's just 2 guys, but it sounds like 3 people, or even sometimes 4, depending on how he's going, And I remember the first one, so I was like, I want to do that.
But that's the thing. Like when you
Yeah.
saw that piece of collage art, was it the art itself that struck you, or like you wanted to do it? I mean, I know it's hard
Well,
to say, but
Yes and no, because the piece of art itself, it was a really, because like the art that I make now, it's really pretty complex. There's a lot of complex cutting techniques, and there's a lot of layering.
sure.
And the piece that I remember seeing, I just remember it had kind of like, like eyes, and then maybe some floral elements, and like a typewriter.
Yeah.
And it was just so simple, but it was just something
so random
that, yeah,
in a way.
Just
and
stuck.
it did, and then so that's what got me started with. Well, I need to cut out a bunch of leaves now, so so I just
That's what you
I
started
just
with?
got going, yeah.
Just out of those like old encyclopedia things?
Yeah, well, I found, so there's a book, it was called Kohler's Medicinal Plants.
Oh, yeah.
And it was,
I remember
I
you talking
actually
about
found an original copy of the book for about $7,000.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I did not buy it, but luckily somebody on Etsy did the legwork.
When you're creeping and you're crawling, swaying and falling, keeping it even, bobbing and weaving, hating and scheming, dealing with the devil, and you never get even. I take it all back, yep. You're taking it slow, screaming like, woo, well, that's a fact. Sitting on the porch with the lights down low, you're showing your drip ball, drinking top shelf, making your mark, you're the depth of
That's
Flows
really
nicely.
tightly well done.
Thank you. No, so me kind of going back to my different iterations of trying to, be a creative, so kind of right before I was doing collage art, I was pressing flowers. That was my COVID hobby. And so, I had all my college textbooks. I had just graduated with my master's degree, so I had all these textbooks. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these. So I started pressing flowers in them, and I would do arrangements, I guess, but now, hindsight 2020, it was almost like I was doing kind of collage work
Sure.
with these pressed flowers, and that's where Lovely But Dead came from.
That's okay.
Yeah. Lovely But Dead.
It's like very literal.
Yeah, it is really literal. And then once I started kind of moving away from it, I actually asked a friend of mine, Abby, who she's actually the guitarist for
Turtle Boat.
Turtle
Okay.
is the band, and their
Okay.
album is Fear is Heavy, I've Got Plans. It's a
I'll have to check them
wonderful.
out. They play around town?
Yeah, it's a wonderful experimental jazz album.
Ooh.
But I asked her, I was like, do you think I should change my name? And she's like, no, because when I tell people that Lovely But Dead is creating our album art, people are like, oh,
Oh, yeah,
really?
it's
Who is that? And
definitely,
it's like
like,
very
striking.
mysterious.
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
So
I love it.
I just decided to keep it. I figured it was a name that was recognizable and
Mhm.
it was made an impression. So
It's sweet to have an
Right.
AKA as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when you get to that, that's like infamous level.
Yeah.
You're like up there with Cher and Billy the Kid.
Oh, man.
Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about some of the projects you're involved with. You've got a lot going on.
I do.
Keeps
So
us-
I'm told.
We keep busy and it keeps our energy elevated,
Mm-hmm.
right? So tell me about the Columbus Collage Collective, right?
Yeah, so the Columbus Collage Collective was created in 2023, and really it kind of was bred from, so I do a lot of markets around town, and when I was doing markets and I started selling my collage art, I had all of these kinds of people coming up and saying, oh man, like I used to do collage art, and I still do it, and I just don't, I was just like, I just kind of do it passively, but I love it, and I love it, and I love it, and I love it. And so I was like, what if we sat and did all this together? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what it was that made me think that there was this need,
It's
but
just a communal thing.
it was.
And you can share ideas.
And like I said, it was kind of right out of, we were still kind of coming out of COVID, and it was like, maybe we need to like start getting together.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know what I thought it was gonna be, but I mean, people just showed up. Like,
That's
it
awesome.
was just like, uh-oh, it's
Well,
okay.
that's
It's like,
important, like,
it's a
from
good
a-
problem to have.
We talk about business a lot in this, and we were talking about this last time, is like having that product. You got to have the product first. Matt
Right.
even says that in the podcast. And it's like when you strike that kind of chord, you know it. And
Yeah.
that's the key to marketing and product development, is like people tell you what they like.
Mhm.
If you're trying to shove something else at them and you're not getting a response, it's kind of a signal,
Right.
and a lot of companies get stuck in that mentality. So,
Yeah.
so you had this.
And I
up
wasn't
well.
flying into it completely blind. I will say, having the collage art community is really active on social media. Like Instagram and collage art are like peas and carrots.
Yeah, I never
And
even.
there are a ton of other collage groups and collage collectives nationally and internationally.
Okay, so it's like a thing.
And there's a huge network. So I was like, well, why don't we have one in Columbus?
Right.
Like, because there's the Pacific Northwest Collage Collective,
Oh, wow.
Chicago, New York, Arizona. There's the Kiev Collage Collective in Ukraine. I mean,
Oh, wow.
it's
Wow.
worldwide, and we've kind of become part of this wider network, and
Nice.
we get to, and there's always calls for art, and so it's like, you just get this wonderful, like, array of art from all over the world, and it's like,
So
and
cool.
we kind
I'm
of
gonna
got
have
to
to
tap
check
into
that
that.
out.
Yeah.
We'll have to post some links about that.
Yeah.
Kind of connect the
Yeah.
dots on that. That would be cool. So, anyone can show up? Or,
Anyone.
Okay.
Any skill
Great.
level, you can show up if you've never touched a pair of scissors in your life. I mean, okay, maybe practice first. Like, you can come, like, there's two parts to collage. There's collage as a process, and there's collage as an art.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you can get whatever you want out of either or both of those things. Collage as a practice can be extremely therapeutic, and it can be a relaxing way to just get away from all of the screens we're always looking at, or
Yeah.
you know, and just sit and make something that sort of sparks your intuitive side.
Yeah.
Or you can be and connect with collage, and really you don't really get to find that until you try.
Sure.
And that's all I want to do is just give people the opportunity and the accessibility to try.
How do they
And,
find out where to go for it?
CollageCollective.com.
Oh, wow.
I know, fancy
That's
that.
a great URL, too.
I know.
Man.
Or ColumbusCollageCollective.com.
Oh, Columbus
Yeah,
Columbus
I was
ColumbusCollageCollective.com.
like, you got the
Yeah,
national.
I know. But we also, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook.
Okay, easily
we're fairly
found.
easy to, we're pretty easy to find, yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us about the Midwest Merchant Project.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna make me run through them. So, the Midwest Merchant Project is something that was born of me being a market vendor.
Mm-hmm.
So there being a market vendor, and with the recent influx of markets around town, it can be really difficult to kind of plan your year, because you have to take, I mean, if you're paying a $250 vendor fee to just participate in a market,
Right.
you don't know if you're going to make your money back. You don't know if they're advertising the event. I mean, you could end up paying for the event 6 months in advance. You don't know if what's going to happen. You know,
Right,
so
so you cancel.
it can be really, really difficult to sort of navigate that world.
Sure.
And so I decided to create the Midwest Merchant Project, and what that does is it allows market vendors to go in, and so it's kind of a simple form, and you just go in and you fill out the information about the market that you just did, like, you know, what the vendor fee was, how much money did you make, you know, was it indoor, outdoor, what was the weather like, and it takes all of that data and it puts it into a Power BI dashboard, and it spits out, okay, jewelry vendors do best on Saturdays in June in Clintonville.
Interesting.
Wow.
And it kind
So
of
cool.
lets you, you know, dictate what your year might look
Informed
like.
decisions.
You can find everything you need on lovelybutdead.com, and if you're interested in, you know, being a part of this group that we're forming, you know, this group that we have, we are always posting, you know, calls for vendors, you know, like, people are always willing to share their experiences about all of the markets that people have done around town, and it's really beneficial, and you can just reach out to me directly on Instagram.
That's awesome.
Lovely but Dead.
And then we are going to talk about your art show, and then we'll get into some fun stuff. I mean, not that this isn't fun, but tell us about decomposition dusk effect.
Yes.
That sounds so
Oh
cool.
my goodness. Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you.
Again, on brand, on theme. She's amazing.
I always need something to sound mysterious and slightly sci-fi.
Yes.
I was raised wholeheartedly on X-Files and Star Trek.
Ooh,
So
Yes.
That's awesome.
But so Decomposition Dusk Effect. This is my second exhibition. This one's going to be at the McConnell Arts Center here in Worthington. Which those people, they are just a joy to work with. They
Yeah,
are
that's a
so
neat place.
good. They treat their artists so well, and everybody there is so kind. I love it. But so the name Decomposition came from, so my first exhibition was at the Granville Center for the Arts. Shout out Ryan McGuire for also being amazing. But that was called Decomposition, and I thought that name just fit my work
Yeah,
so well. I
wonderful.
think.
And it
I
has
mean,
many meanings.
It does.
you know?
It does. You know, like decomposition as far as like, you know, decomposing rot and organic matter, but
Right.
also like
Composition.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So I kept that name, but what I wanted to do with this one was I wanted to showcase it's almost chronological, like kind of showing this journey, because when I first started, like we were talking about, it was doing all these florals and all of these leaves, and everything was flourishing and lovely, and then everything sort of took a dark turn somewhere. So,
Yeah.
but it kind of became a little more introspective, a little more, a little darker. So that's where that dusk effect comes in. It goes from light to dark.
I love that.
And so my work is going to be on the top floor and the bottom floor of the McConnell Arts Center. So everything up top is going to be light, and everything on the bottom is
how
going to be
fun.
dark. I know, I'm so
And
excited
that
for it.
is May 8th?
Yes, May 8th through July 2nd.
Sweet.
They asked me if I had any ideas for programming, and I sent them a laundry list.
That's awesome.
So I'm extra excited for May 10th, which is World Collage Day.
Oh.
This is an event that was created by the Collage Institute out of Louisiana back in 2018, I believe. And anybody is able to do something for World Collage Day, and then you submit your event, and they'll promote it through Collage magazine and everything. But but the McConnell Arts Center, once again, wonderfully accommodating and really excited about it. They leaned in on it.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
we're going to have 4 different rooms set up at the McConnell Arts Center, and each room is going to have a different theme.
Oh.
Where you go in, like we're going to have an abstract room, we're going to have a surrealism room, a typography
That was
room,
sweet.
and so
I like typography. I get into that.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
each room is going to have a challenge.
We're out easy these days.
later.
Well, let's talk a little bit about collaboration, because one of the things I've really noticed about you, and Matt and I've talked about a lot, is just how much you are the connective tissue between other folks, which is on brand. You can take that if you'd like. But it's just amazing to me. Some people just kind of get out of whatever shell that most people kind of stay in when they're marketing their business or marketing their creative thing, and you seem to be one of those. So what have you gotten from this type of collaboration, and not just the camaraderie, but for your businesses and success?
Sure. So the first collaboration that I ever did, it was with there was a local Neon Demon Photography.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one of those situations where he was just walking by my booth. It was at Mystic Market. There was like nobody else there. And he just stopped in his tracks, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, we have to work together." And his photography is just, out of this world. He does a lot of work with he does a lot of the photography for Trauma and like Hell City Tattoo and all that. So it's like very, and it's very kind of like dark and edgy and beautiful and everything. And so we did a collaboration where he sent me kind of a handful of photographs that he had taken, and I made collage work out of them. And it was just one of those things where it's it seemed so like I had to kind of question it in the beginning, like, why am I doing this? Like,
Right.
what's in this for me? But really, it wasn't about what was in it for me. It was truly about making that connection, because not only are you reaching your audience, but you're reaching their audience, and back and forth, and it's not even so much that it's almost like you have to flex that collaboration muscle,
Yes.
because I think a lot
You
of
do.
times, and like that, I'm new to collaborate. Like
Me
this is
too.
new.
Very
for
new.
me.
Yeah,
2023 when we met.
Right.
I went through spells where I did collaborate with a lot of musicians when I was younger, 18, 19, 20s, 21, whatever. And then something changed, and I don't know if I just felt like it just like was everybody was out to get me kind of thing, And so when I went through that, I stopped letting people in.
Yeah.
And it was a long time, and I was married, for a long time, and not that that didn't take away from it, but we started having our issues, and that took away from the music, and but I didn't collaborate with anybody, and then Amy turned Sharper, who's a poet here in town. I asked her one day, this is back in 2018 when I wrote the song Secrets, The words are a mixture of hers and mine. But it was just words. Like they weren't lyrics that she gave me or anything like that. I said, what do you think about me just like copying some of your stuff off Instagram? And then she goes, yeah, whatever, do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? If you know Amy, do whatever you want to do, just give me credit. Like, all right, you got it, girl. So next thing I know, I got these songs, and that was the first time I collaborated, and I didn't even really collaborate, right?
Yeah.
I just kind of pulled her words off the net and went with it. And now we got 20 of them or something crazy, you know, or something like that, or 12 of them. Or
part of
something.
it's, you know, why he and I have been working so fast and being able to produce a lot fast, and we like what we're doing, we're having fun, is we don't get in each other's way too much. That's a big part of it too. You know, like
Yeah, like he took on my social media, and I kind of like at first I was like, oh no, man, and he was like, if you want me to do it,
I'm gonna do
like
it
basically
my
fuck
way.
off, right? And and so the next
Yeah.
day, you know, I thought about it a little bit because we kind of got into it, and it got heated
A little bit.
enough, and I was like, the next day I was like, well, I'm just gonna like let this ride, kind of thing, you know, 'cause that's just how I am. I'm running the other way, and I get a text the next morning. I'm not gonna quit doing that. It's gonna be done in a minute. And then I was like, you know what? You're getting results, and I wasn't getting results. Like, just do it.
Natural consequences. All I can say, natural consequences. Made us this way, natural consequences. All I can say, natural consequences.
On that note, I have a little fun project for you two, our two artists.
Okay.
I would like you guys to make a collage, and we'll have a little video of it, and we'll put it up if it's good. But I have a couple rules. First of all, I've got the materials, so
We only put it up if it's good, so if it's bad, we're just gonna like cut this part out.
I'm just gonna hang it on.
we'll do whatever you want. We just listened to Lovely But Dead. So I went to Ollie's Bargain Outlet, and I got some material, and I think the first one we have is the American Dream Pop to Present. I don't even know what that means.
Interesting.
So we've got some interesting things there to cut out. We've got our very own Coyote Peterson Wildlife Adventure children's sticker and animal book. The King of Sting, if anybody don't know the King of Sting.
Oh, I do now.
It's amazing. Go to YouTube and watch Cody the King of Sting. He's from here.
King of Sting.
And
He's from
then-
Columbus?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think he still lives here.
Cool.
If he's listening, my kids would love to meet you. And I had another one. I'll have to find it.
This completes our second episode of Chasing the Muse. We want to thank Emily Morgan, aka Lovely But Dead, for hanging out with us tonight. We really had a great time, and we'll see you guys next time on Chasing the Muse.